we're kind of like very balanced out in terms of everything that we do. I mean, I would say there's certain elements of production that we both dislike doing. Like, for example, we both hate doing intros and outros, you know? Arranging things. I wish that one of us loved it.
I think our main strength is the breakdowns. Like the whole melodic parts, bringing the emotions into the track. Like the general vibe, the feeling.
I am just a stranger in a stranger's kind of land.
Yeah, in terms of the breakdowns and stuff, we're very like we're on the same page. Most of the stuff we're on the same page. So I mean, I guess he loves doing drums a lot. You know, like I'm a bit too lazy on that.
No, I hate it as well. But since you don't want to do it, someone has to.
No, but you love it. You love that whole thing. You know.
Chords,
always melodies.
A melody, a bass line into that, a build up, and we end with the drop. Like for us to make a breakdown is the easiest.
Yeah, I think a lot of producers I know that they start records with drums, and unless you do like a tech house track, I don't even know how a brain could think around that. It's like you have a kick drum and a snare and you're like, I think this chord will fit perfectly with that snare, you know? It's weird. So how we do it is we have a melodic breakdown, and then before spending too much time on everything else, we try to figure out how that's gonna go into the main drop. Because those two pieces are the most important parts of a record, is the breakdown.
I think the intro is the most important part.
I think the outro is. The breakdown is, you know, it introduces the track, and then the drop is kind of like the conclusion of it, you know. It's kind of like meeting a girl, maybe, like you see her before talking to her, that's the breakdown.
Yeah.
But if everything is perfect, that's the drop, because
then you want
when you come up to her and you say hi, and she's absolutely horrible, that's where the drop is like, didn't work. And nobody's moving. They're like, wow, hands in the air. All right. That was confusing.
Especially working on our album, we probably have 50, 60 breakdown ideas.
Yeah.
25 full-on ideas with drops, and we're putting about 14 into our album. We just do it, and obviously we speak a lot to Steve about it to get someone else's opinion from outside the box to kind of say, this will work, this won't work, you should do this, you should do that, but this is just perfect.
But we don't really have, like, I mean, Steve trusts our judgment now. That, like, obviously before it was like a lot more filtering going on, but I think we're all on the same page in terms of the taste, you know, and we know obviously with all the touring we've been doing what kind of works and stuff.
Especially when it's an album, we're experimenting a lot, we're having a lot of fun. Some of the tracks doesn't make any sense at all, but we just did it because it's an album, who cares? We have one more track to do, and then we're done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we
did it.
I think we're good. Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, it's very, like, I cannot even imagine going back from the scratch and doing this first album. The second album is going to be much easier if we go into it, but going back to the knowledge that we had before, it's like, wow, like sitting down and saying, okay, we're gonna start on the first idea. It's like, it's mayhem. It's mayhem.
What do we use most?
I mean, we use so much analog gear nowadays that I don't even know if we use any plugins. Oh God.
Massive.
In terms of,
I love Massive.
I think in terms of plugins is a Massive, obviously. I think we have the Arturia Mini Moog and pretty much something at some part in almost every single record.
Sure.
But
Logic's own synths. I love them.
yeah, I
They're very
I was
easy
about
to
to
work
say that.
around.
Like,
they're not complicated.
once you learn. I remember when we were starting to produce. Like a lot of kids out there, they're like, "Oh, a track can't be fat unless you have."
You need native instruments.
this,
you need
and that.
Arturia.
But
you don't need shit.
when
Once you know how to work around with
Yeah.
a plugin or a synth,
you can
all
you
you
can
need
use
is one
anything.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Just Logic synths are amazing, you know, and obviously, definitely like a lot of processing, you know, like waves. I think processing is a lot more important than the actual sound because, like, if you listen to like a chord progression that is dry after we put distortion, reverb,
compression.
you know, compression. We've started using a lot of like lexicon reverbs, for example. They're like incredible. Pretty much put it on every channel, and yeah, just keep it very basic and simple, and just it's about the creativity. I think more importantly than what you use.
Let's think.
We went to Guitar Center the other day.
Okay.
And we bought two new things. One we couldn't install for some reason because it was being super weird. Or did we install that synth?
Yeah,
it was
Largo?
Largo, yeah. And then we haven't. We can't
Boulder.
comment on it really because we didn't use it. But then we bought the Alicia Keys sample library for Contact, and then I realized that I didn't install Contact, which is in the US, and yeah, so we're anxious to try those things.
No, but like
Yeah.
we put a lot of effort into getting everything, but in the end we're still using what we always have, what
Yeah.
we're comfortable with.
First of all, the warping sucks, and they need to use the same thing that Ableton
alright,
has.
though.
No, it's not, because you never use the warping in Ableton. It's amazing. Okay, so the warping is absolute shit. They need to just steal the idea from Ableton. If they have
Just
it,
take the algorithm, hack it.
MIDI is still like editing is absolute chaos a lot of the times.
alright.
Like the snapping, like the glitches in the snapping is bad. Then I think for people that don't necessarily use external plugins, they still need to upgrade their limiter because their limiter is not very good, especially if you're using it for mastering and stuff. But
We haven't used it.
We don't use
Yeah.
it because we use Waves. But if somebody, you know, people
I'm
can't
excited.
afford
They
it.
know what they're doing. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we were in Stockholm, one of the first time we got together and we were working in Steven Sebastian's studio? And we were
Yeah.
working on this amazing track. Like, we were so excited, 4 or 5 hours. I even called my friends, guys, you have to come check this track out. This friend of mine, he came in, he's like, oh, sounds amazing. And he walks around, looks around, it's a big, beautiful room. You were there, you shot it, and by the entrance or the exit, whatever you want to call it, there's a big red button with a key in it. Obviously a main switch.
It's the master electricity switch, obviously.
It's the main switch.
When you leave the
and,
studio to just make sure everything is off.
So yeah, he pulled the key.
Yeah.
And it went black, it went dark, then he almost put fire to the whole studio. Like, he threw a cigarette somewhere, it was like,
No, but the problem with that was that we were working on the project, and like when he turned off the entire power switch, everything crashed, and we couldn't even pull back the old project. So it wasn't that we
Yeah.
were saving it. We were saving it, but
the whole computer
the whole
just got
thing
fucked
just and the whole project got screwed. And then we kind of remembered how the chords went, and then we
But it
tried
just wasn't
we tried
the
to
same. It just
reproduce it,
wasn't
and it
the
was
same.
just it was a waste. It was just a wasted record. So we ended up just closing the studio and going home because it was
So he's
like,
banished, obviously.